Hello and welcome to this month's episode of Ask Best Practice and our How to Write a Process Flow webinar. Welcome. We're talking all things ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, and I thought in this particular webinar I would introduce ISO 27001, which is the information security standard. So it's this information security standard that I think will bring everybody together. Cybersecurity, managing information and managing what's happening as we move into an electronic business, I think is really relevant. It's probably a great common standard to be talking about. So we'll talk about ISO 27001. I didn't want to neglect anybody. I think we've done ISO 9001 to death. I will answer questions about that if you guys have got any questions, but I thought this would be a great standard to read from and to check back against. Follows the same structure as the others, but it might be a great way to introduce you guys to what's going on. So here we are, we're talking about ISO and process mapping, I guess, and so we put a post out, and thanks everybody for joining us. We've had over 200 people register for today's live event, so bear with us for a couple of minutes while we wait for a few more people to come online. My name's Kobe Simmet. I am the leader here at Best Practice. It's a great team of people. While we are just waiting for a couple more people to come online, we'll just get to a critical mass and then we will start. This is being recorded, so after this live event, if you haven't seen one of these before, the recording of this will sit in the Best Practice YouTube channel. It'll be available in the Best Practice Training Academy for those of you that have subscriptions and get all the extra content from us. We're just going to stand by while we sort out some technical issues.
Okay, no, we're good.
Okay, so it will be available in the Best Practice Training Academy. So for those of you that aren't aware, if you've downloaded a checklist from us here at Best Practice, you've set yourself up with an account, there's a whole bunch of online training courses that you can also purchase available in the Best Practice Training Academy. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out. We'll throw the links to those out to you guys after this particular webinar. Sorry, I've got the hiccups and a bit of a cough. Okay. Hello. So while we're just waiting for a couple more people coming online, it's always really exciting to see where everybody's watching from. So we've got the live chat facility there on the side of the video if you're watching in YouTube. If you're watching through the Best Practice Training Academy, you can click the button down the bottom that says Watch Live on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, there's a comments box there. So give me a shout out and tell me where you're watching from. It's always very exciting. We get people from all over the world. So yeah, just let me know. Comment there on the side. Give me a hello. Let me know where you're watching from, and I can see those comments. Jack's given me a dashboard to see what's going on today. So I apologise if my eyes are looking all over the place. I've got lights and cameras and everything to make this the best possible stream that we can do for you. Okay. While you guys are commenting, let me know. Oh, g'day Herbert. Hello. How are you? While we're thanks for joining us. While we're just getting started today, a couple of things. I want to just a big thanks to Jack for coming back from holidays. So Jack's back this morning, straight into a live webinar with 200 people. So Jack's been away for 2 weeks. That's why we've been a little bit quiet on our YouTube channel the last 2 weeks. The marketing team and the sales team are right outside the door here. They're on the live chat of our website. So if you've got questions, this is the best place. Hello to Sydney. Hello to Wollongong. Hello Hurstville. So French's Forest. Wow. Lots of local people. You're only 5 minutes away. You could have come here and watched it live. Maybe next month, if you guys would like to come and watch live here at the office. It's always entertaining to come and join us here at Best Practice and come and visit. So, hello Herbert, watching from South Africa. Maybe Herbert, you don't come and visit. It'd be a long flight for you. Yeah, you guys are always welcome to come and drop into the Best Practice office. It's always entertaining here, and there's always lots going on. So swing by, and maybe ask the team if I'm going to be around, because I'm quite busy, and make sure that when you are swinging by that I'm going to be here and I'll be able to say hello. Hello Brisbane. You right, Jack? Okay, so Jack's here. Jack's just giving me hand signals, so a little bit distracting. We'll get stuck into it in a minute. What I was about to say, live chat. So if you go to bestpracticecertification.com.au or bestpracticeeducation.com.au, there's live chat features on both those websites. One's obviously our certification website, and the other is our training academy. They link to each other. There's live chat, and Rigdon and Vanessa are outside, and they can help with that. Hello to Melbourne. G'day, Andrew. So what I just wanted to let you know, this is the great place to watch and answer and ask questions. So in the live chat there, now that you guys are feeling a bit more familiar with it, today's about questioning. It's your quality time with me. This is all live. And also, if you're watching this video after the live event, so you're watching the recording, it's a couple of hours, a month, a year later, we monitor all the comments on all of our videos. So if you've got a question and you're watching this after this live event, you're watching the recording, just ask a question in the comments below this video. We'll help you out. We come back to that. We check that inbox every day. YouTube gives us an inbox of all the comments on all the videos, and we respond to everybody where we can. So please do that if you've got a question. The last thing I want is for you to be coming into this ecosystem that is YouTube and learning and trying to educate yourself. I don't want you to get stuck. I want to be able to, I'm really passionate about helping you guys with what you're doing, and I want you guys to be able to come in and ask those questions, and we'll get back to you. The best time is to join us live. Find out through our certified magazine or any of the other things that we're promoting when these live events are. Find out when the live events are and get into the live events. That's the best time because I can give you the best quality response. But if you're watching a recording, please comment below the video and ask that question so that we can help you and we can keep you moving and learning and developing. Okay, Jack's going to throw up just a couple of slides, a couple of best practice slides. I just want to talk about a couple of things. The first one is just to quickly talk about most of you will have done this already, so go Jack, thank you. Okay, so the first one is, here we are. So I'm not in front of a green screen today, so sorry that you just lost me. Most of the time you can see me in front of the green screen. So I just want to quickly talk about two things. One is most of you will already have a free account on our training academy. That's where you can pick up your free content if you've downloaded a free checklist. There's 4 free checklists that you can download, so I'd encourage you, if you haven't got those 4 free checklists, one for quality, one for safety, one for environment, one for information security. They're available to you. So if you've already got your free checklist, that's fantastic. Getting that free checklist may have been what got you onto the invite list for this live event. And so jump on, if you haven't interacted with us, then you can create your free account. But most of you will have done that already. And then what that does is allows you to access the training academy. And there's a little shop there where you can buy some of the training courses that we sell online. If you're a certified client of Best Practice, you get 1 free subscription. So if you are a client of Best Practice and someone in your organization should have a free subscription, if you're not set up with that, please contact our team and they'll get you set up. And that gives you access to all of the training courses that we include for free with your certification when you get certified. So obviously Best Practice is a certification company. There's a little picture there of our certificates, all the different certificates that we have there down the bottom. So Jack's going to pop that back up for you. So those certificates are the certifications for each of the international standards. Now I wanted to just point one thing out. Thanks, Jack. I wanted to point one thing out for you guys today about that. I was actually chatting to someone yesterday who joins us for our live webinars. They're doing some great stuff, but we don't actually audit that company. We don't certify that company. And that prompted me to think that they're doing our videos and all that sort of stuff. Now here's a really interesting thing. If you really like what we do, if you are an organization that wants to improve, if you're a group of people who are really inspired.
Okay, I think we're back on. Should be good. Yep. Okay,
so our apologies. We've just had an issue with our upload with our blue cable. So yes, my apologies to everybody there watching. It's an issue with our upload speed getting frozen, so we've just switched our internet connection. So you're good? Okay, so where was I? I was talking about Best Practice. So yes, we're obviously a certification company. Thank you very much. Perfect. So we're obviously a certification company here, and we do certification for the different standards. If you're an organization that wants to improve, if you're an organization that's really inspired to be, to be growing and really building an organization, that's where I started to talk about Built to Last. This is a great book, Built to Last by Jim Collins. So if you're working in a team and you're building an organization with great foundations, if the organization gets disrupted and it changes and then it settles down and it improves and it's continuing to grow. So if you're someone who's inspired to be learning and growing, and you are because you're participating in this growth environment with us here at Best Practice, and if you'd like to invest time and some of your resources and some of your money with us, we can move into a coaching environment with you. So we have a team Next Practice, and somewhere here on my table, in our magazine, we talk about what we're doing with our management type activity. So if we're not certifying you, if you want the inside scoop in support in terms of what auditors look at, what auditors look for, if you want some business coaching and some business education, and you're not interested in certification, but you'd like to get benefits, the true benefits out of your ISO standards, then investing some time and effort investigating Next Practice and the services of Next Practice, where our team come on site, our team of coaches. If you're really lucky, I can try and find some time in my calendar and come and spend some time with you and go through this live with you. So I just wanted to talk today about our Next Practice team, what they do, and it prompted me, the conversation I had yesterday prompted me to just let somebody know that, okay, we're not certifying you and that's great, but we can actually still offer you some on-site support. So, okay, hello from Nationwide, hello from Yeppoon, and apologies to everybody for the choppiness of the stream. That was our upload speed. So we were having an issue with our internet connection. We've switched, and that's a lesson. Our mobile phones, our cell phones always work far more successfully with the upload than our Bluestring, and this is the third time, Jack. We're learning our lesson. So, okay, thank you very much. Terrific, great. Okay, a couple of things. Quick announcement before I get into how to make a process flow. Certified issue 4 is it's in print right now and it's about to come out, so look out for that. If you haven't seen issue 3, there's certified issue 3, lovely bright covers. Issue 1 and 2, all available for download. There's issue 1. Our magazine, our management magazine, got some great stuff in it, so look out for certified issue 4. If you're on our mailing list, that'll get sent out to you, and I hope you enjoy it. It's been a lot of work, it's been a lot of fun putting it together. And if you're international, you can download that from our training academy. It'll get posted into our training academy in the next 4 or 5 business days, and then it'll be available for you to jump in and download the magazine and have a read. It's got some fantastic stuff in it. Issue 5 is already under production, and we're having a lot of fun doing that. So they're all the announcements, I think, right now. I'm going to get into how to do a process flow. Okay, this is what we're all here for, this is what we wanted to talk about, and this is some great content. I think probably where I've been thinking about this, getting lots of questions, and I guess that's what prompted the content for today in terms of how to write up a process flow. And I was thinking about what tips should I give you guys in terms of putting this together. I think the first one is to think about why. Largely, what's been happening in this industry is that we've had since 1994, we've had a trend to producing documents, policies, procedures, operations manuals, instructions, work instructions, standard operating procedures, work method statements, all those different titles to give people guidance on how to undertake activities, how to do things in the organisation. But I guess the question is why? So here it is. The question is why. But I think for two things, I think why is really important for two perspectives. Why are we doing that? Why are we defining a process? So we know how to do something. Now, Jack and I don't have a process at the moment for setting up these webinars and running these webinars because this is now about our 27th or 28th monthly webinar. We've been doing them for 3 years. We're well practiced. I put a post up on LinkedIn a couple of days ago about getting hit by a bus, and that the why might be we might define processes and we might write processes because I might get hit by a bus. At this point in time, that will probably disrupt this whole process. I haven't got somebody who is me that I can just swap straight in, and you guys probably wouldn't like that person because everybody loves me. So there's my ego for you. But I think that we've got to ask why, and I think what prompted me yesterday was probably the most common thing that you would go through would be, say, for example, a tour of your facility or a tour of your process, or you would describe to somebody what it is that you do in your organisation. So I'm going to go through that for you. I'm going to talk about how to write a process flow, but how to write a process flow really starts with why. Why would we define, or why would we document, or why would we write up a process flow? So the options would be, the first one probably would be a tour. So it's just a tour of your facility. That's one. Number 2 might be an induction. Number 3 could be it could be a review. Number 4, it might be a requirement. So we're going to give someone a tour of the organisation at a very high level, and I'm going to do that shortly. What do you guys do here? What do you do in your organisation? We've had a new person start here. He's just outside the studio. He's got the workstation just outside the studio here, and I've been guiding and educating him on the things that happen here at Best Practice as part of my involvement in his induction, and he's working through other people in the organisation as part of his induction. And so he's been able to look at what our process flow is. I haven't shown him everything yet because I don't want to overwhelm him. So I haven't actually shown him the process flow on day 1. We've talked briefly about what we do. We'll get into the devil's in the detail. We'll get into that detail later on. We might want to review. We might, in ISO world, we call that an internal audit. So our senior leadership, our board of directors here at this organisation, or board, I'm on a number of boards. I'm on a board of a charity. As a board member, as a director of that charity, where I do some of my work in the pro bono space, I'm looking for a conformance that the people that work in that organisation are following the processes. And that's where a board of directors might ask for an internal audit. There might be a legal requirement to outline how you're going to do something. And I think what's really important to appreciate is that sometimes people get caught up in too much detail. And so I thought it'd be relevant, we're in this game, we're in this space, and have us drink some of our own Kool-Aid. I thought it'd be interesting to see what we have here at Best Practice. That's our process for sales, proposal and agreement. This is a continuation, so it's a 2-step A and B, if you like. They go together like that. I won't share this apart from in this, because this is our commercial intellectual property and our competitors love to see this stuff. But that's our sales and business development process. Our operations process, it's 3 pages, so it actually joins, it goes something like that. This dot here joins with the dot here at the top of this page. This one is a continuation of that, it's 3 pages, actually it's 4 pages. So that's a 4-page vertical process flow, 4 A3 pages all in a row that describe what's happening, and what it does do down here is it shows on this side over here, it shows where a lot of stuff happens in our database, if that makes sense. Now I won't go into detail about that, we won't get too tricky, but I will say we do try and make it look really cool by actually putting some little images in. So there's a little image of an iPad and an iPhone for you guys to see, Excello client file, Excello is the database we use. So we're trying to make these really interesting, and I've been a massive advocate for this. Like, do a little screenshot of what you're talking about, and we've got a great marketing team that do lots of graphics. All the thumbnails and stuff you see on our YouTube channel, it makes it look attractive. And I guess that's the second part of this that I want to quickly talk about when we say how to write a process flow, and I'll go through it, I'll do one for you in a minute. But as we talk about how to write a process flow, you really got to think about your audience. So these are potentially different audiences here. We've got maybe visitors and guests or people that you're talking to about the organisation. You've got staff, you've got board of directors, maybe you've got a regulator as different stakeholders. And it's really about the audience. And I know all these things sort of, and I'm talking a bit randomly, but one of the reasons why I do so much video content publicly and internally here at Best Practice is with a little bit of charisma and a little bit of character and some thought around practice and some public speaking, I can more effectively convey the message to my team. The human beings that are my audience are more likely to listen to and absorb the message if it's in a form that's easy for them to digest. So I'm going to talk about how to write a process flow. I promise I'll get to that. But I really want you to consider the medium or the format that we start to outline and define process flows. And can you use graphics like we've just used from a flowchart perspective? Can we use a good quality medium that our audience can digest? Because with good quality digestion, you'll get the benefits of all of the inputs of that process flow. Now, what I can say without a doubt is that the human beings that are around us every day are reluctant to go to black and white text on paper unless they're inspired to read it. So this is a fantastic book, Built to Last by Jim Collins, but it's not for everybody. It's for me because I'm passionate, I'm motivated, and I'm looking for gold nuggets. I'm digging through this book looking for the gold nuggets, the things that I can execute here at Best Practice to build something that's going to last as far as an organisation. That's my entrepreneurial spirit. However, it's not for everybody. It's, you know, that I could put 20 copies out in the office and most people would pick them up, take them home, put them on a shelf and never read them. And that happens a lot with books that are given as gifts. People just don't read them. So I want you to think about the audience, and I want you to think about, realistically, do people read the procedures that you write? Do the procedures that you write actually impact the KPIs and the performance measures and the monitoring and measurement in your organisation? And most of the time when I ask that question, the answer is no. So I think that's something that you want to consider. So as we talk about a process flow, we really want to be saying, I'm going to show you how to write it. I'm going to show you how I do it. Really simple and fast, so that it's really easy to lay down. Then you can make it look beautiful. You know, all of these process flows that I show you, they're about version 5, but really they're just a desktop published format of something that was done in exactly the way that I'm about to go through with you. Okay, any questions? Please put them in the chat facility there. I can see the questions on my dashboard in front of me here below the camera. So any questions you've got as we go. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of quick hacks. I said I would talk about how to write a process flow. Number 1, in terms of how to write a process flow, I use this great product here. Let me just put that up. It's a Postit note. It's a sticky note, but it's huge. They're absolutely huge. And what I do is they're by 3M. This is not a sponsored thing. 3M don't even know who I am, but I've gone by this. They are quite expensive in my world here in my stationery supplier. However, they're amazing. And the benefit I get from these by far outweighs the investment that I make in them. They're a Post-it note, and so I can take them like this, and they've just got sticky on the back of them, and I put them up on the wall. I think better when I'm standing in a team workshop environment. They're absolutely fantastic. We can actually take notes on them, and I've got a whole bunch here ready to go on the wall. And that's my first hack, is that. Now, my next hack, do not use, on any butcher's paper, don't use your whiteboard pens. So my hack for you guys is, this is the whiteboard pen that I use when I'm doing whiteboard work. And I just used it then so you could see it, because it's the biggest, blackest, fattest texture that I've got. It's got a huge head on it for this stuff so that you can see it, but it doesn't write very well on butcher's paper or on paper. See how it hasn't gone through? So hack is find the right texture or find the right pen. I've been using these for 20 years, Mr. Sketch. 12, they're smelly, coloured, scented textures. These are the textures that I use. So my 2 hacks for writing a process flow, you've got to make your life easy. It's got to work really, really well. These have got a great non-toxic water-based ink. You've got to be careful that your kids don't steal them, because I've got to constantly go home and get them and bring them back to work, because they end up at home. So they're a great texture. So I've got 4 boxes of these on rotation. They're Mr. Sketch. In Australian dollars, I pay about $30 a box. They're not cheap, but it's about what you pay for is what you get. I want you guys to be able to do this, feel good about it. You've got a whole bunch of colours, and so when you're starting to sketch out and think about how you want a process to be defined, you can actually use these things. So, for the purposes of today, I'm going to choose dark colours, and I'm going to hope that the ones that I pick work, because they do get used, and the kids haven't abused them. So, these write really well. They've got tons of ink in them. They're absolutely fantastic. And then we just think about, okay, what do we need to map out? I would highly recommend that your first attempt at this is not in front of a computer with a keyboard and a mouse. You'll get too bogged down in the detail. It's about thinking high level. Stand up, get a meeting room or go somewhere else so that you can think really high level what's happening in an organisation. So the 3 tips, 1, 2, 3. The first one is sticky butcher's paper by 3M. It's just on the wall. Then you don't need clips or easels or any of that sort of stuff. You can stick them on a window, and you can, anywhere. Then you can carry them around. You can put them in your office. Most offices have heaps of white space on the wall, like this one. There's so many white walls around here that we can fill up with our pretty pictures. Second is good texture. Third is stand up. Not sit down at a computer. Stand up so that you can think out loud. You can get that clarity break about what am I trying to achieve. So then you've got to, it's like looking at, if you're going on a journey, if you're going on holidays, you're going to look at a really big map, and you're going to say, I'm going to go here and here and here on my tour. I talked about a tour. So on holidays, I'm going to go to these places, and then I'm going to get progressively lower in terms of detail. So the big map, if you like. It's the process map. We talk about process maps. So think about a big map, the big world map, the map of the country, then the map of the provinces, then the local map, if that makes sense. Same applies in terms of layers with how to write a process map. So we have to start at the highest level, and most organisations, even not-for-profits, even charities, start with marketing. So we've got marketing, and that's let's call that a process step, if you like. Then we've got, I just drew on the wall, well done Kobe. Then we've got sales. Then we've got, let's call it production. Here at Best Practice, we call it operations. Yes, apologies for my spelling. And then we might have, for example, finance, if you like. Now, under this is at a very high level. Every organisation will have marketing, sales, production, and finance as key high-level processes. This is what happens. We go and find customers. We go find customers and we look at the market. We sell to those customers and we close deals. We go and do the thing that we do, which is our service that earns us the money, the value add, all the ingredients. Then we do our financial process where we collect the money for what we do. Depending on your business model, the finance piece might sit at a different place. If you're in a restaurant, in the restaurant game, in hospitality, you'll do your marketing, you'll do your sales, you'll cook all the meals and serve everybody, and then you give them the bill at the end of the meal. If you're in the hotel game, you might actually market, and your sales and finance process is the same, because everybody, most people pay for their accommodation or a deposit for their accommodation at the front, do the sales, then they'll have the rooms and people will stay in the rooms. They check out of the room, it's a done deal. Pay for anything extra, if that makes sense, but from an accommodation perspective. Manufacturing might do marketing, sales, a deposit, production, and then a second payment, but that's basically what's going on. And I think what I have observed a lot, is that you guys can sometimes get caught up in what's happening here, because you might then have 3 parts to this part of your business. And we had an abrasive blasting question. If you're watching, it was like laser cutting, sheet metal manufacturing, welding, and abrasive blasting. And so there's different phases in this production process. So what I can say is that and I'm an example of that, my certification process flow was, it sits here under operations, if that makes sense. Let me just find that. So this is about the layers of the map that I was just talking about. Let me sort out my mess. I got myself in a mess. And it goes down here. These are my process flow charts, if you like. It's 4 pages that sits as a vertical under this part, so if that makes sense. So how to write a process flow, the first step is to get your high-level map, get your map of the world for your organisation. So if someone came in and asked for a tour of your organisation, you'd say, well, this is the marketing section, and follow the process flow. This is the marketing section, this is the sales section, this is how we do our selling, this is how we do whatever our service is or our product is, and this is our finance part of the organisation. So the high-level map. So when we're talking about the ISO standards, there's a model that's been around a long time which talks about inputs and outputs. So then we can actually start, and can you see if I'm over here? Let's do it over here. So from a production perspective, because that's what we're all interested in, what are our inputs? There might be a process step, and what are our outputs? Now, in some organisations, this main core business, if you're a builder, for example, now, you could be a construction company that's got a design company. You could be a construction company that's got an architect and an engineering component to it. And so you can think about, well, what's the logical flow of this? Thank you, Jack, for adjusting that. You could zoom in a bit more if you want. So we can say, okay, well, what is it? What are we doing? So from a construction perspective, we might have tendering. So a construction company might have tendering here. Then they might have design, and there's a financial component to that. So that part of that process is the finance piece sits in the middle as we go. But they might have, from a production perspective, in a construction company, even though we don't get paid for it, we might have estimating. And we might have tendering. Then we might have project management. We might have completion. And we might have another process which might be maintenance. I'll just carry over here. So if you guys want to comment beside in the chat box, and I'll see if I can spot some industries as you guys comment, then I can actually give you some insight in terms of what this might look like at a high level. But we've all got marketing, we've all got sales, we've all got this in terms of production or operations, and we've all got finance. Now finance might punctuate itself through here. Like a construction company might do estimating and tendering, collect a deposit from the customer, then do their project management. They might just do project management. They might not do some of these other things, if that makes sense. From a fabrication perspective or manufacturing perspective, we get all the raw materials delivered, and then as we move through the factory, we get the raw materials delivered, and then we cut it, and we design it, we cut it, we bend it, we rivet it, we weld it, we finish it, we paint it, and then we supply the completed product to the customer. That would be the process flow in production. But a lot of people get caught up not thinking about what the high-level process map is. And I can honestly say, for the most part, a lot of organisations that I go and talk to, and I've been talking to for the last 15 years, get very caught up in this part of the business. That's largely driven by a poor quality external assessor that just wants to look at the technical part of the business. And so then they're missing out the fact that a lot of the problems that we're trying to control and manage with policies and procedures over here created by the sales team making promises to customers that are just not done every day. Now that's not a bad thing, because it's the sales team literally trying to win work so that the organisation can keep running, and I understand both sides of the fence. But there's a great book that I've been reading recently, which is it's called No Man's Land by Doug Tatum. And Marina, who runs our United States operation for us, she recommended that book to me about 2 months ago, or a month ago, and it's fantastic. And it talks about the leader's job to constantly mess up the organisation, make promises to customers, so the organisation can innovate and succeed into the future. So I just want you to think about having sales processes defined and marketing processes defined. They need to be probably more dynamic than other parts of the organisation, but that will give you good quality inputs for you guys to take as part of your processes. So when I say inputs, process, outputs, within this next level down could be one of these things. So any of these things could be this little next page, if you like. And within this level, if we drill down a level, we're going to have a whole nother flow chart. We can start to go vertical, if you like. All our process steps down inside here. So we want to understand that, if this was electronic and I double clicked here and it took me down into the next level, then I can see what the process flow is of estimating, tendering, project management, and completion. Now, this is all about tips and tricks. Tips and tricks here is talking to the champion in one part of the business and saying, when we do this next project, what are the top 10 things that I need to remember to do or not forget? And it's those things. That's really the thing to focus on when we're starting to unpack or write down a process flow. Is like, it's meant to be, the methodology to deliver the promise we made to the customer. So what was the comment we made to the customer? G'day, Lee. I see Lee Dean in there. Hello, mate. So from a process flow perspective, when you're designing a magazine, thank you, Lee. When we go down to that, what are the things we need to make sure that we check? And the process flow would be, starts to reflect, those key steps we go through, or hold points or controls, if you like. Decisions and approvals and that type of thing, so that when someone's coming in and looking at that process, they can follow it. So the best analogy that I've found in the last 10 years is the concept of thinking about cooking a meal or cooking a dish, is that the celebrity chef industry globally has been really good at taking unskilled labour, which is you and me at home when we're cooking, unless you're a qualified chef and you've got a commercial kitchen. But for most of us, it'd be amazing to be able to produce great meals in our homes. And the celebrity chef industry's been really good. They've combined great quality cookbooks which have got a photo of the finished product, a really simple methodology, and a set of ingredients. So the ingredients are the inputs, the methodology describes the process, and the picture is the output. So I challenge you guys to really have a think about, what does the cookbook for your organisation look like? We want to keep it that simple. Now, the catch, and I guess the reason why the celebrity chef industry has been so successful, they also add in video. They've got TV shows and all that sort of stuff which hypes it and gets people excited. And the more excited and happy people are, the more likely they are to comply and be inspired to get that outcome. Okay, so we've got a mining company, we've got medical device distributors, and we've got solar company in Wagga. Great. Who else have we got in there? Ava Research. Fantastic. Okay, excellent. I'm just going to start at the top. Lee Dean, in the comments there, Lee is kind enough to work very closely with me, as frustrating as I am in producing our magazine, and Lee also produces Duck and Whale. So if you ever see the Duck and Whale t-shirts that I wear around the office in the back of our videos. So from Lee's perspective, and I'll just go in order of the comments there, Lee's perspective, he's got marketing and sales. Lee's marketing and his sales are about advertising, so he's got to monetize that. He's got to market the magazine and also market to people to sponsor the magazine, so he's got two revenue streams. He needs to do sales of subscriptions to the magazine, and also sales to the advertisers that place ads. Then he's got to produce it, and if you ask Lee, I think you've got your head on your shoulders in terms of what your production flow process is, and then what your financial processes are in terms of how you actually collect the money from those people. So subscriptions, it's paid up front, and then they pay, and then you send the magazine. And then from an advertising perspective, that might become a bit grey. You might produce the magazine, place someone's ad, and then you've got to chase them for money. So you might want to choose to move based on, well, that didn't go well. You might move things around, and that's where we can start to manipulate and improve our processes. Okay, so that's magazines. The solar company in Wagga, just off the top of my head, you've got to do marketing, and part of your marketing and your sales might relate to, is the person going to pay 100% for their solar installation, or is some of it going to be a grant funded, like a funded or grant money or rebate type activity? So there are people out there paying 100% for their solar installation. They're on rural property. There's no electricity connection. They're going to buy the solar panels. And so from a solar panels company's perspective over here, we might be talking about we've got to do our sales and marketing steps, and how you go about doing that. And you're going to have two different sales processes. You're going to have one sales process for somebody like me, who doesn't care about the government grants. I just want my house to be off the grid. And so I've gone and I've lodged a DA with council. This is personal about me, everybody. I've lodged a development application with my local council to do an extension to my house, to put solar panels on my roof and a battery installation to take my whole house off the grid, so I'm not connected to the grid-connected power supply. That's just one of my personal passionate projects. So you would sell to me very differently. You're literally selling me all the infrastructure so that I can achieve my goal, as opposed to somebody who's just looking at the numbers, and you're selling them the government grant and the solar installation that's a grid-connected solar installation. So two very different sales processes, and you might do 10 of these for one of these. This is Kobe, who wants to be off the grid, versus somebody who's going to be grid-connected solar. And this is a pretty straightforward process where you might do design, you might use a software package like Nearmap, you might look at an aerial photo, the initial phone inquiry might be look at an aerial photo, yes, it's orientated correctly, yes, it's the right sort of roof, there's no big trees, we think, yes, we can do it, go out, do a site inspection, and then follow your little calculator, get the person to sign on the dotted line, then go into production, which is, order the equipment, book the tradesman, book the person on site, go out and do the installation. So that's where I think you guys, with both you guys, Lee and the solar, so Jody, is it Jody? For both you guys, go on, get some of this butcher's paper and come back to this recording, because what I just said wasn't lost. This has been recorded. Make a note of what time it is. It's 11:15, so we're 45 minutes into the time of the video. So you can go back to about the 45-minute mark. Everything that I just talked about, fast forward to that. What are we at, 38 minutes, did I see then? Jack? Thereabouts. So somewhere between 38 and 45 minutes, make a timestamp, make a note of this, come back to the recording, get some of this butcher's paper and map out that flow. Rewind, play of what I just talked about for you guys. Okay, medical device distributors. Okay, so that's a really interesting one. I'm going to call a couple of assumptions. I'm assuming that your marketing department doesn't actually dictate the design of those medical devices. You're literally just selling. So the true marketing is about researching the market and finding there's a need in the market and designing something to suit that need. So your marketing is going to be more about brand awareness and telling people and organizations that you sell a particular thing. And so your sales, you're going to have maybe a slightly different sales process because it can be quite regulated in the hospital and healthcare system. And so it's thinking about, you might publish a catalog, you might market those products, you might go and speak at conferences, you might do some networking in the business-to-business space, you might research people on LinkedIn, do a skill search. For the medical device company, for, who is it? Merum. Did I say that right? So for your organization, you might do a skill search. What are the top 3? This is for everybody who's listening. What are the top 3 job descriptions of the people that buy from your organization? What are the top 3 job descriptions? What are the top 3 titles that they would have? And then go into LinkedIn and search that job description and click people, and you will see all the people. Don't worry about what their name is. You can see the market that are your prospects on LinkedIn. And so from a medical device perspective, it might be a bit more targeted. We're expanding our business into the US. We've got our operation set up and we're starting to pilot some projects. And Marina, who's our leader of the team over there, we did a search the other day about medical practitioners in Houston, and there's 30,000 people with the title medical office manager. And so they might be the people that we need an introduction. And so they're our prospects, the list of 30,000 people, and we start promoting our material. From a production perspective, it's ordering and forecasting, and then warehousing, and then then maintenance and maintaining the stuff while it's in storage, and then dispatch to the customer. And then you might have a maintenance and service section to your business, and it's mapping out what a service request comes in. How do we handle it? We put it into our database, or the equipment needs to be maintained or updated, or those maintenance things. So they can sit over here where you might have you might have a for medical devices, you might have a site setup or site installation, site install. You've got as a process. So I jumped ahead a bit there. You might have a warehouse. You've got a forecasting and ordering process. You might have site installation, you might have training. I'm just guessing. You might have monitoring. And you might have service. And you might have repair. This is maintenance for construction, but you guys might have repair. Just drew on the wall again. Get the blue off the wall. So for the medical device installation, you've got process. So again, what's your ordering process? This is probably another tip, which is try not to go more than 5 steps. What's your ordering process in 5 steps? What's your warehousing process in 5 steps? What's site installation in 5 steps? 5 steps is 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to draw on the wall. Here we go. 4, 5. Okay? So what's the ordering process? Really simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep it to that. Don't go over complicated with it. Some of ours here, they're a bit complicated, but it's complicated business. So, but it's 1 page. There's nothing more than this. A little bit of instruction and some videos about each of these boxes, and that's about it. Okay, so that's, I've got to keep moving. Medical device, debt collection, and legal company. Okay, there's a tricky one. Okay, same again, marketing, sales. From a legal standpoint, I assume with the debt collection side of your business, you're getting a contract to either A, collect one debt from one person from one client, or B, collect a whole bunch of debts. So you might get a whole debt book from an organisation where you might have 500, 1, 2, 20, 30, 50, 500 debts to collect as part of a tendering process. So then, the debt collection process would potentially, I'm just speculating from knowing some of those businesses and auditing those businesses, where we would be saying something like, we receive a batch, we receive an updated report, and then you have your special magical process about actually getting legal to support the debt collection. Okay, so let's keep talking about debt collection then. So from a standpoint in terms of collecting the debt, I'm assuming the legal part is sending a letter of demand and starting the legal collection process. But from a debt collection process, how do you receive the batch? How do you receive the updated information? How do you then process that information internally? How do you then make the phone calls, send the letters, update the information, and then get contact details to then inform what the court case or the court proceedings may be? My lawyer always says to me, and I've got retained legal counsel, she always says, always do this with the intent that you're going to be in court. So it's about doing the right thing, attention to detail, all that sort of stuff. Don't half-ass the process of legal. Make sure you do the right thing in the beginning. Don't hurt anybody. Don't do anything that's not legit. And always say that you can honestly put your hand on your heart and swear on the Bible in court or whatever it might be that is exactly the situation. So, but then it's fact and it's legit and it's process. So the same would apply, like what is the due diligence that you guys go through on a case-by-case basis? And then you guys might be more of a case management. So what does your case management look like? So, you receive the information, and then each case that you're doing goes through the same steps. And so it might be one process that's case management based or project based, if that makes sense. Does that help? Okay, awesome. Okay. Any of these conversations we can take offline, and you guys can text me on LinkedIn and message me on LinkedIn. That's a really great way to get access to me. Typically between Sydney time, I'm in Sydney, between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. or any time send me a message on LinkedIn. That's a great way to get me. Mining. Okay, something I've got lots of experience in. Okay, from a mining perspective, there's a couple of things that happen in mining. Can you just comment for me what sort of mining it is? Is it like mining because we're mining coal, or we're mining alumina or hard rock? If you're still listening. And Diana, was it Diana that was in French's Forest? Can't see there. Right up the top. Yes. Okay. So from a mining perspective, there's lots of different parts to mining. Being a mining company, so there's obviously there's forecast. You're providing a raw material to another industry when you're mining. You're digging something out of the ground potentially, because your desired outcome is not the hole; it's what's coming out of the hole. So we've got to think about that. So we've got to do some supply forecasting. There you go. What have we got? Valves. Okay, so you sell valves into mining. Awesome. Okay, so that is easy. That's the same as the medical device company. Okay, so I guess it's starting to think about you're ordering, you're forecasting. You're ordering, you're warehousing. If you do site installation, if you do training, if you do monitoring, if you do service, if you do repair, and depending on where you sit, this is your process flow for this part of your business. You've still got marketing, sales, production, finance. I haven't talked much about marketing. I'll come back to that because I'm really passionate about that part of it. But does that help you for different mining projects? Yeah. So if it's valves and it's thinking about forecasting, and it might be, you might have in your forecasting and ordering process, there might be some in-depth conversations with your customers about their projects and what they're doing, all the pipes and everything that are going everywhere in their production facility. I've done some work in zinc mines and some of the other wet type mining processes where they're pulling the material out of the ground and trying to actually get rid of as much tailings as possible. And in the instance of zinc, they had a process where they were digging the zinc out of the ground and then pumping it about 300 or 400 kilometres to a port. So lots of conversations in your business and business development over here until you build good rapport with the customer where they just ring up an order, order from a catalogue. So there might be specific design, and potentially if I know your business at all, if I think I know who you are, you might also do some servicing and repairs. I've certainly talked to lots of people where they're doing maintenance and rebuilding of some of these valves because they become very expensive. So I hope that helps. Again, make a note of the time. Jack, do you want to zoom in on that so everyone can screenshot it? So if you're watching on a device, you can screenshot this, come back to the recording, and you can do a screenshot on a mobile device. It'll be, it's available on YouTube. Any point in time, just screenshot that and zoom in on it yourself. So that's how you get a copy of these notes, everybody. So for an iPhone, does everyone know how to do a screenshot on an iPhone? You press the power button and then the home button, and that takes a screenshot. You press them both at the same time, it goes, it takes a picture. So if you're watching on a mobile device, iPad, any of that sort of stuff, I'm a Mac person, so I think it's Command-Shift-4, and then you draw a box and it takes a screenshot. So if you're on a Windows device, screenshot any of this stuff and you can zoom in on it and see what's on the wall. I'll get out of the way. There you go, so you can screenshot that. Okay, we're talking about how to write a process flow. How are we going for time? We've lost the clock. We're coming up to towards the end. Let me do one more. Okay, just scroll up. Okay, we invite general public to participate in giving their opinions on customer goods and services. Yes, so Ava Research. Okay, know all about you guys. We've got lots and lots of clients who do market research. So thank you for joining us today. Again, how good's these sticky notes up on the wall? So for market research. Okay, it's the same. I actually do a lot of market research myself internally. You guys are looking at opinions, and so you've got a couple of key processes in your production for market research, because you've got to do a couple of things. So I'll just move this over so you can see. From a market research perspective, you've got to manage audience. So your group of subjects that you're testing, so whether you've got an online panel, whether you're bringing in people for interviews, you've got it. So you're getting opinions from people, and then you're giving that data. Your data scientist might be working on it, or someone else's data scientist might be working on it. You're taking that opinion and you're selling that to a customer. So you're getting engaged. So you've got a marketing process to market your business and the services. You've got a sales process. You've got someone doing quotes and all that sort of stuff. But again, over here in production, so marketing, sales, production, finance, the same for you. But over here, you've got to manage your audiences. So you've got onboarding. You've got to find all these people. You've got to onboard. You've got to induct. You've got to get them together and talk, chat, survey. They might be the process steps for what goes on, really high level. There we go, I've done it in 4, and it might be report. Then that audience becomes an input to the survey process, and that will depend on what the particular project is that you're working on. And then you've got the survey itself, and then you've got the reporting. I appreciate this is really fast and dirty, but your reporting might be it might be collate, assess, analysis. It might be compare, and it might be deliver or report. If that makes sense. From a reporting perspective, the survey is book the room, get the people together, send out the EDMs, all the emails that go to people. Click this survey, fill this out. So for Ava, really high level. You've still same as everybody. You've got to market the organisation, market each of the services. You've got to do the selling and the business development, and your business development process is about you've got to constantly be collecting audiences. I know that's half the challenge for you guys, is finding good quality people to survey and in the right demographics and getting their attention and getting them to participate. And you've got incentives and all that sort of stuff to get these audiences to participate. You do the survey processes, and there might be 2 or 3 different types of surveying. You might have your panels. It might be a one-on-one, interview style. It might be groups. You know, I've done some group stuff way back when I was a uni student, going and eating steak. We were taste testing different sorts of steak. And then the reporting side of things. So there's your, you know, at a high level, just to help you out a little bit about market research. If you guys are happy to keep watching, I might do one more. Okay. We've got market research. Chris, g'day Chris. Various community care services, residential aged care, youth programs, in-home care, okay, supported in-home living. I think the process for each may be slightly different. That's correct, Chris. So Chris, challenging for your type of organisation because what you're doing is obviously distinctly different because it's very much a community service. So again, like any of these businesses, you've got, you know, your operations may be quite distinct in terms of you might have your supported in-home living, and there might be a couple of different types of supported in-home living, but just understanding how your participant or how your client moves through that. And that, Chris, the best way to come at that might be, you know, giving people names and having like I call them an avatar. So Chris, your don't call them types, but you might have a good way to approach you, Chris. Anybody actually this tip applies to is your different, and this is where our coloured text has come in. Here's a good opportunity to use different colours. So there's a couple of same. Let me just find the green. Okay, so this person here. This is Bob, and this is Bob's process. As Bob is a client or a participant or a customer. This is Jeff, and that's that service. You know, this is Fiona. You know, and then this is Jill. And so, Chris, the reason I sort of jumped ahead, you know, this isn't I haven't got time to do a masterclass, but for yours, because it's very personal, it's a service-based organisation, and it's very personal, and it's community service, and you know, it's a very, you know, it's a service that requires, you know, empathy and emotion and emotional, you know, emotional intelligence. Setting up an avatar for each of your services and naming somebody makes it personal, so that you can then understand, well, Bob moves through our process like this. And then you can understand, okay, well, you know, and look, this is for everybody, all of you out there. We do this a lot. So our avatars, we've got Trevor and Teresa and a couple of different people in different countries, as we start to say, okay, well, what would they think about that? And we try, so we're being, it's about mindset, and we're trying to be specific. So you can all take that away. You know, it's a great tip. I apologise that I didn't pull that in earlier. These things tend to be a little bit fluid when I'm involved. But thinking about that from Bob, you know, from Bob's perspective, Lee, this is relevant for you with your magazine, for the legal counsel and debt collection, the different types of people that are part of our process, you know, and what do they look like? It's a great way to do a process flow of how they're involved. Now, that is how to discover, I guess, at a very high level and unpack the process flow. What's really easy then is what I talk about a lot on this channel. It's really easy because for every single box on every single piece of paper that I've drawn on today, I'll put this down here so you can see it. Put this over here so we can see it all. For all of these boxes, and you can choose how you'd like to make it look, and I'll do it again in blue so you can all see it, is who, what, when, where, how, and we started with, so I'm trying not to draw on the wall. Here we go. He started with why. So we started with why. So for each of these boxes, who's responsible? Who's involved? What are they doing? When are they doing it? Where are they doing it? And how are they doing it? Going back to the cookbook analogy, what's the methodology? You know, you've got to preheat the oven. Then if you're making a cake, you've got to preheat the oven. You've got to grease the pan. Then you've got to make the cake mix. Don't let it sit around too long. You mix the dry ingredients first and the wet ingredients, and you put it all together. You dump it in the pot and you stick it in the oven. And then you've got to let it digest. You've got to let it bake for 40 minutes. If you're making a sponge cake, you can't touch the oven. Leave it alone for 40 minutes. It takes time. You know, and that's the when. How long? Great prompts for you to make your plan, if you like. So then you can start, you know, you can do cool stuff. You know what we talk about here, and it's not very clear on this one, but we might say that on our process flow, let me get a different colour, that in our company, who? You know, and we'll draw a line, and one person's responsible for those steps. And then we'll go to the next person. And we'll say, you know, there's a different who. And they do these steps. They're responsible. And that's how you can actually lay responsibilities over the top of the process flow. So you can see that. So we can actually then have the steps, and you can just make it look cool. Now, don't go and buy or subscribe to any fancy software. Just use Google Slides. It's free. Get a Google slide, you know, do page format, turn it this way, or a PowerPoint slide, and play with the boxes and shapes. Don't go get Visio, don't go get some so fancy flowchart software. Microsoft Word's got software, Microsoft Word's got boxes and arrows. Google Slides. I highly recommend Google Slides. I'll tell you why I recommend Google Slides. Because when you're using Google Slides, it's auto-saving. So you'll never, ever, ever again in your life lose your work if you're using Google Slides. It's constantly auto-saving. It's really simple. There's not too many features, and I think and that keeps it really simple. Okay, has anyone got any questions? I've gone a bit over time, but I'm having fun, and I have got some time available. So, all right, what do we got there? Okay, Ava Research only recruits new candidates. We only recruit the candidates, okay, and then send them to groups that fit their profiles. Cool, okay. Well, there you go. You can maybe start 2 more business units. I've done the process flows for you. What have we got there? What I'll do is I'll get Jack or someone in the office to take photos of this, and we'll send out an email with a link to the photos. Where's the best place for advertising? What is the best place for advertising for people, for your surveys? I would probably say, look, there's lots of people saying that Instagram, it depends on, I guess, what you're surveying. There's lots of people saying that Instagram and Facebook ads are really cheap at the moment, and if you're doing like social surveys of social type things in the business to consumer marketplace, then find the biggest, most popular page of the competitor of the thing that you're surveying, and then you can post a like type ad. Like social media advertising, that's a whole nother webinar that I can help you with because I've got a lot of experience with that. But I would be looking at social media advertising, but picking out, so the people that you want to collect for your survey, what do they follow? What's the most popular pages that they've liked? And you can target ads against those pages. Okay, marketing information interests us. So the marketing process. So for the guys commenting off the back of Next Level Fitness Studio, can you, with your Gmail account, can you just explain that question or ask me a bit more of a detailed question? You want to understand the marketing flow over here. You guys were the legal debt collection and legal, I think. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So marketing. So for you guys with the debt collection, yes. Okay. Great. Perfect. So. This is relevant again for everybody. Is our marketing flow. So it's it's build audience, produce content, and then A test, and then B test. Quick question, who follows me? Quick question, just a yeses, who follows me on LinkedIn? And if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, go and find @KobeSimmet on LinkedIn and have a look at the post. It's public, you can just hit follow. Have a look at my posts over the last 2 or 3 weeks. A test, B test, and then boost. So from a marketing flow perspective, we're building or identifying our audience, and that might be for service A, service B, product or service C, or however many you've got. And they're going to be different audiences. And then for each of those audiences, your marketing is about producing content specific to that audience in their specific location so that it lands with them. And then 2 pieces of content so you can A/B test. The reason why I said about following me on LinkedIn is I've been doing A/B testing, and I've recently found in A/B testing that the most successful posts for me on LinkedIn are 1,300 character text posts. I'm getting the best results in terms of interaction and engagement on my LinkedIn account with my 10,500 followers. So, because I want to help them, I want to help more people, and I'm like, well, if I post a video on LinkedIn, no one watches it. If I post an article or an image, no one looks at it because like the reach is less. But if I post 1,300 characters of text, I get 50% of my LinkedIn audience reads it over about a week. So that's part of the A/B testing. So marketing flow is about identifying your audience. Okay, so for you guys, I'll give you some specific tips. I would be strongly recommending that you have a close look at LinkedIn. And I mentioned it earlier. What are the top 5 job descriptions of the people that sign your contracts and give you guys deals, or work with those people, and do a search on LinkedIn for that job title in a specific location. Don't go global. Don't let your ego get in the way. And I'm speaking from experience. LinkedIn, the first search you do on LinkedIn will give you everybody in the whole world with that job title. Bring it all the way back down to, say, Sydney, for example, or Melbourne, or your local, New York, or wherever you are, to identify the people with that title. They'll be your prospect. Work out where they hang out. Do they hang out on that platform or another platform? Do they hang out at networking based on the different services? And then start producing content, giving them guidance, advice, and tips and tricks, like I do for you guys. Hello, Hugh. I do. Okay. Yes to marketing flow for deck collection. So there it is. Identify your audience, where your deals are going to come from. Produce the content, and then the A/B test. Happy with that? You can zoom in if you like, Jack. This is relevant for everybody, generically. There you go. If you want to do a screenshot of that and zoom in on it, that'll you'll be able to grab that, and that's for everybody. Okay, are there any questions from anyone? Tips and tricks on process flows. I don't have the skill set to be able to sit on a software program like Google Slides and do you a procedure. Apologise for that. But that's why I have a team of people that do it for me to make it look pretty. I do it like this. They say go away and stop making noise. We'll make it look pretty and put it on the intranet. So these all sit on the best practice intranet. We use Google Sites. We have a private, secure intranet site, which is a Google site. This office runs on Google products, Gmail system, all that sort of stuff. So we just use Google Slides and then Google intranet site. Okay, I think that, Jack, just about smashes out a great webinar. So thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to hang around as I always do after these webinars. You can get me on the live chat, so bestpracticecertification.com.au. I'll hang around. I do have a meeting in about an hour and 15 minutes. So I will monitor the comments for that. I'll monitor the comments behind this particular video. If you've watched this video after the event, please comment below. If you guys want to come back and watch this, I think there's some great content today in terms of what we've talked about with how to write a process flow. Come back, press play, screenshot stuff, zoom in on it, use it for guidance, use it for advice. If you want our help, if you want us to come and do this for you on site in more detail, our team at Next Practice, always happy to talk to you about what the investment is to do that. and they can come on site. You might even be able to be lucky enough to jag me. I'll certainly spend some personal time with you if you want to talk about how we can map that out, how we can map out the process flow, how we can help you with management review, how we can help with your systems. And when we're not certifying you, if we're not your certification body, we can come and help you with any of that stuff. If we are your certification body, we can teach you how to do it. So I'll be mindful of that, and but give us a call and talk to us because we can talk through it with you. Okay, so a couple of social media things. If you're not already following us on LinkedIn, the company page on LinkedIn is getting some great stuff. The stuff on Google. If you liked this webinar, I would dearly love a special thanks, as I'm giving you all of my best content, is a Google review. So if you wouldn't mind Googling best practice and giving us a Google review, Jack, if you wouldn't mind sharing that page, that would be fantastic. If you could do that, please. So Jack's just going to show you, if you wouldn't mind going to best practice, Googling best practice certification and giving us a Google review, that gets us more results, I guess, from a SEO perspective, so more people can find out about the great stuff that we're doing. If you like this webinar and the stuff that I talked about, this is now a great training tool for you. Grab the link, either share it with someone or email it to yourself, so you've got the link to come back to, and include it in your inductions. Include it with process mapping with your team. That's what it's for. It's here, it's free, and it's fantastic. So comment below, and as always, if you've got questions, please hit me with your questions. So Jack's just sharing you there. Jack Hammond, oh there he is. Hey Jack, give me 5 stars. So yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind jumping on our Google page, please, and giving us a Google review, that would be absolutely fantastic. And anything that I can help you with, I'm not that hard to get hold of. I am pretty busy. The easiest way to get to me directly is through my LinkedIn, @KobeSimmet on LinkedIn, and just hit the follow button or hit the connect button. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I don't spam anybody. If you want to be connected, so you can post and ask questions and monitor what's going on. And you need an email address, because sometimes you can't connect because you need my email address. The email address I use for that is kobe@simat.com.au. So my first name @ my last name.com.au, and that's my spam email address. It's the one I use to connect to that particular account. So that'll help you to connect with me on LinkedIn, follow what it's doing. On the marketing topic, there you go. Go back and have a look at those posts, and you can see what I've been experimenting with on LinkedIn, just to see engagement levels with the audience. So that's it for how to write a process flow. I'll put links in the comments for the texters. I don't get any money from that. It's just where I buy them on eBay. It's just if you can find something better, but these are fantastic. They smell. The back of it's got all the flavours. It's like a menu. So I don't get anything out of this stuff. There's no sort of veiled sales pitches. I use Postit Note 3M paper. Get the good stuff. It's worth every cent. You can just slap it up on the wall like we've done today. It's pretty cheap really, because I didn't have to buy an easel or a board or anything like that. Those are the texters I use for butcher's paper, and these are the great texters Artline 5109A. That's what I use for whiteboards. Don't cheat with whiteboards. You've got these ones, which most people use, which is the Artline, hang on, upside down, Artline 577. They're great. These are amazing. So get big, chunky whiteboards when you're doing whiteboard sessions. If you want to do whiteboard, if you don't have this stuff, get these texters, do it on a whiteboard and take a photo with a phone, and then print that out, A3, and there's your document. Like seriously, these could be controlled documents by just writing version 1, taking a picture. Like if you're struggling to desktop publish your processes, don't be scared to just put a picture in your system as that's the process. Like handwrite it, take a picture, save it in your system, that's the process, done. Keep it simple, don't overwork it, don't overthink it. And I think that's where you guys are getting caught up. Add up the hourly rates of the people that work in your organisation and your organisation. It's not worth someone spending half a day to produce these flowcharts and these procedures. It's not worth it. Like at $500 a day, it's not worth $250 to produce this. So if you can do it quickly like that, and it's enough to go have people, it's enough to give someone a tour, it's enough to give someone an induction, it's enough to do an internal audit, and it's enough to meet your regulators' requirement, do it that way. Take a picture, save it in your system, and you can refer back to it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I've got to go and do a few things. I'm going to monitor the live chat. So if you've got more questions, if you want to call best practice, if you're in Australia and you want to call best practice, get hold of me in the next 30 to 40 minutes. Call our 1300 402 602 number, or live chat on the website. I'm here if you want to have a hangout and have a chat and just a catch up. That'd be great. If you wouldn't mind hitting a Google review for us, be honest. I appreciate everybody's honesty. So if you liked it, like it. If you didn't, give me the feedback and see what you want in terms of improvement. Any other questions? No worries, mate. Thank you, Lee. Absolutely fantastic. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next month. Look out for Certified Issue 4. Certified Issue 4, it's, I think Lee can probably tell us, it's due back from the printers any minute now. Should be in production. Issue 4 is coming out. It'll be available up on the website in a couple of days' time. Look out for Issue 4. Great articles in that. So keep your eyes open for Issue 4. And I'll see you next time in a month. What point was I making? The dates for the webinars are in the back of the magazine. So there's the inside scoop. Thank you to, thank you to Lucidity. What am I doing here? Here we go. Dates for webinars. There they are, free webinars. There they are in the back of every issue of Certified, inside the back of the dates for the next 6 months, or 4 or 5 months. So 1, 2, 3, 4 webinars advertised in the next issue of Certified. Look out for those. Okay, everybody, thanks so much. I'm Kobe Simon. I'm the CEO here at Best Practice. I've had a great day doing what I love. I'll see you soon.